Can you hear you? United States District Court for the Eastern District of Wisconsin is now open. The Honorable Judge Aaron Goodstein presiding. All persons having business before this honorable court are admonished to draw near and to give their attention, for the court is now in session. God save the United States and this honorable court. Please be seated.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and little children, to what I believe is going to be a very memorable ceremony. As the bailiff announced, my name is Aaron Goodstein. I'm one of the judges here in the Eastern District of Wisconsin. Normally, when I go into a courtroom, and this is serving as our courtroom this morning, I never see people with smiling faces. This is a unique and unusual ceremony, and one that I always enjoy presiding over because you all want to be here in our courthouse. So, and it's a real privilege for me to administer the oath of allegiance because I know all of you have worked so hard, so diligently to be here today. We wish all your family and friends could also be here with you. I know some of you may have family and friends out there in the atrium. Some of you, due to the technology, will be watching as we're live streaming this. So for those that are watching, hi, how are you? After the ceremony, we have representatives from the League of Women Voters who will be there in the atrium to distribute information regarding voting, a most important privilege that all citizens have. And they'll also be able to register voters. So please stop at their table after the ceremony. We start our formal ceremony with a representative from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
My name is Thomas Moore. I'm an investigative officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Morning, Your Honor. I have a motion for the admission to United States citizenship, 24 applicants for naturalization here present in this courtroom, including 24 applicants for motion of the court for a legal name change. The applicants is an examined by an officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service. Each applicant is in property a person of good moral character who has resided in the United States for the period of time required by the statute. Been found to be fairly disposed to good order and happiness in the United States, and each is familiar with the history of the United States, the principles of the Constitution, and form of government of the United States. No objection to their admission has been found. Therefore, Your Honor, I respectfully move that each of the applicants here present be admitted to United States citizenship, and that the court grant the motion for name changes. Those applicants are requested on the oath of allegiance.
Thank you. And then motion for name change will be granted upon the taking of the oath. And the oath, which appears before you on the wall, before you take your oath, I've been requested to explain its meaning. The oath is extremely important, and it's more than just mere words. It has two parts. In the first part, you will absolutely and entirely renounce allegiance and fidelity to any foreign king, prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty. After you take the oath, you will owe all of your allegiance to the United States. The natural allegiance you have had up until this time will be destroyed completely, as if it had never existed. However, even though you are giving up your former allegiance to the country of your birth, this does not mean that you must also give up your traditions, culture, heritage. One of the great things about the United States is that so many people of diverse cultures and traditions are living together. The United States, because of this, was once referred to as the great melting pot. But I never liked that term, because when you think of melting pot, it's like we're all melted into some kind of big mess. I think a more appropriate metaphor is potluck. What's a potluck? Each culture contributes their best nourishing food, traditions, and culture to the success of the United States, especially the food. Don't forget your traditional food, because to me, food brings everybody together. And I'm looking at the list. Let's see where everybody is from. So I'm going to call out the countries. Just raise your hand. Let's see. How about, let's start alphabetically with Brazil. then Bulgaria. Hello. Burma. Burma, we have two from Burma. Oh, three, okay, Burma. So far, that's leading the pack. Congo. Oh, what from Congo? El Salvador. Oh. Iran. From Iran. Liberia. Mexico. Well, I'm from Mexico. Nicaragua. Way in the back there. Pakistan. Poland. We have a hand from Poland. Oh, Poland didn't show up. Well, maybe next time. Russia. Somalia. Oh. South Korea. And Tanzania. Okay, see you around the corner. Good. Well, welcome. That's just great. And it just shows what I said, diverse cultures, traditions, heritage. So that's the first part of the oath. So if any of you are unwilling to renounce allegiance to your former country, if you're unwilling to do that, you have to raise your hand now and we'll dismiss your petition for naturalization. So is there anybody unwilling to do that? Great, no hands. In the second part of the oath, you will swear to support and defend the Constitution, the laws of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The Constitution was adopted by the founders of this country who came to America from many lands, primarily from England. After obtaining the independence from England, they wrote the Constitution in which they attempted to guarantee to themselves, their children and their children's children, certain rights they had not enjoyed while under English rule. These rights include the freedom to worship as they chose, the freedom to speak, the freedom from imprisonment without fair trial, and the opportunity to work and acquire property. The Constitution is an amazing document, for the principles our forefathers expressed over 200 years ago have remained unchanged, even though there have been some additions known as amendments. The first 10 amendments, known as the Bill of Rights, were adopted at the same time as the Constitution. Several subsequent amendments were the result of struggle and sacrifice, such as the 14th Amendment, providing civil rights to all persons. That was enacted in 1868 following the Civil War. In 1870, the 15th Amendment was enacted, giving all persons, regardless of race, color, or prior servitude, the right to vote. Then in 1920, the 19th Amendment was passed, giving women the right to vote. By taking your oath, you join the citizens of this country and promise to support and defend the principles stated in the Constitution, even though it may be difficult at times. After you've taken this oath, you'll be known as citizens of this country. You'll be joined with the rest of us as the joint heirs of the great Americans who founded this country and wrote our Constitution. But do not be deceived or lulled into complacency by the words in the document. The Constitution only provides you with rights and privileges, but not guarantees. In other words, you have the right to pursue happiness, but there's no guarantee you will find it. You have the right of equality of opportunity, but there's no guarantee you will find riches. You have the right of freedom of speech, but this does not make you wise. You are promised liberty, but this does not mean you will find peace. Each day of your life will not be as memorable as today. So it's up to you to pursue these privileges, these rights, and hopefully you will obtain happiness, riches, wisdom, and peace. Okay, I'm about to administer the oath. What I'd like each of you to do is to please rise if you're able. And then I want you to raise your right hand and as best you can, repeat after me. I want to hear those voices saying the oath, and I'll break it up into parts. Okay, I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Okay, give yourself a hand. You're now citizens of the United States. That wasn't too hard, was it? After all those years of study and everything. You know, citizenship in the United States is a glorious possession representing the dreams and struggles of people for centuries, including my grandparents, who became citizens just like you. I'm going to show you something. You're not going to be able to read it, but I'll tell you what it is. This is my grandfather's certificate of citizenship. It's nothing like yours. See, when you look at your certificate, it's going to have your digital photo on it and terrific. But when my grandfather, they didn't have digital cameras. It's dated September 16th, 1912. My father says was 3 months old at the time. My grandfather came from Russia, or whatever country it was. We know that those countries have changed so much. But anyway, why do I have this? Because to my grandfather, this certificate was not just a piece of paper, something he'd throw in the drawer, dispose of. Now I'm a citizen, I don't need this. No, this had meaning to him. He valued it. And he passed it on to his children. My father got it, and I got it from my father. And once I started doing these ceremonies, I decided to have it framed. And when it's not here, it's in my office. Pass it on to my kids, and I hope they carry on their tradition. Because, you know, our present form of government was established, been maintained by generations of sufferings, sacrifices. I know my grandparents had to go through, and I'm sure many of you had to go through to be here today. In other words, having a voice in our government, freedom of worship, freedom of opportunity, all the freedoms of human aspiration did not come by accident. These freedoms were not handed to us on a silver platter. But freedom is not something that once achieved will last forever. Freedom is not automatic. It must be preserved by those who, like you, are willing to work for it. And one of the primary ways we can maintain our system of government is by exercising your voice. And by that, I mean voting. I'm always amazed at having a voice in our government, such an important freedom, but so few people go to the polls to vote. It's usually less than 50% of those eligible. And each vote is important. We just had elections. And you can tell by the results in many places that one vote did matter. So I urge you to exercise your right to vote in every election. To do so, You must first register to vote. That's the first part. And then when there's an election, you actually have to go and vote. In fact, when you go to the polls, take your children with you, even if they're not happy about it, because what that says to your children is it shows them the importance of voting. So I call upon you, each and every one of you, pass the meaning behind this certificate of citizenship to your descendants, telling them to cherish their freedom, just as my grandparents did, so that this nation may continue as it has in the past. However, as former President John F. Kennedy once said, freedom has many difficulties and democracy is not perfect. You're not joining a perfect society. The United States has its faults, but we know it. Except for Native Americans, all of us came from somewhere else, but we still have so much bigotry and intolerance for those who are different. Despite being one of the richest countries on earth, we still have poverty and homeless people. Despite providing education and legitimate opportunities for people, we still have too many drugs, too many guns, too much crime and violence. But we're trying to reduce and eliminate these things. And in that effort, we ask you to join. There are many civic and charitable organizations that try and help this country obtain its ideals. John F. Kennedy also said, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And you can start right in your local neighborhoods, helping to improve this country. So as we end this ceremony, I again offer you my sincerest congratulations on becoming citizens of the United States. It's just great to have you as citizens. So that concludes the ceremony. However, remain where you are. I don't know if you've already received your certificates, but that's going to happen. And then there's going to be some further instructions. As you know, there's always instructions. So have a great day.
All rise.
We're getting ready to begin shortly. I need for everyone to take out their cell phones, devices on silent. And if you do not know how to silence your cell phone, please turn that device off. Once the ceremony starts, please do not leave those devices going off. They will interfere with being able to hear what the judge has to say. So please either put your cell phones on silent or power those devices down.
All rise. The United States District Court of Eastern District of Wisconsin is now the Honorable Judge William E. Callahan Jr. presiding. All persons having business before this honorable court are admonished to draw near and seek your attention, for the court is now in session. God save these United States and this honorable court.
Well, good morning to all of you and congratulations and thank you. My name is William Callahan. I'm a United States Magistrate Judge here in the district. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sometimes these microphones help and sometimes they don't. But anyway, my name is William Callahan. I'm a United States Magistrate Judge. I love doing these naturalizations, as I think all of my fellow judges do. I've been a judge since 1995. So I know I only look like I'm 25, but I'm really quite a bit older than that. But I love doing these ceremonies because, you know, as a judge, and I love being a judge, and I loved being a lawyer before that. And I loved going to court, but there's a downside to going to court, even as a judge, and it is that once I do my work there, somebody usually walks away unhappy because, you know, I've made a decision and there's winners and there's losers. But this is the one ceremony, the one job I have as a judge, that when I come and I complete my job, everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's happy. So I really enjoy them. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to share this wonderful day with you. I'm going to make a couple of remarks, but before I do that, I've got a list of the various countries that you all hail from, and I would like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to, if I call your country, if you kind of raise your hand and let me know that you're the one from there. I've got Albania. Welcome. Bangladesh. Bangladesh? Yes, no? Maybe so. I'm sorry? Bangladesh, okay. Brazil. You got a team in the World Cup yet? Well, I guess now you're an American, but yeah. Burma, welcome, sir. Canada, good to see you. China, welcome. Congo, Kinshasa. Congo, maybe I'm mispronouncing. Congo? Hello, okay, welcome, welcome. India, welcome. Hong Kong, Jamaica, Kosovo, welcome. Mexico, welcome. Nicaragua, Peru, welcome. Philippines, and Vietnam, welcome. Well, let me just make a couple of remarks before I put you under oath. You are about to take the oath of allegiance to the United States. This oath has two parts. In the first part, you will absolutely and entirely renounce allegiance and fidelity to any state or sovereignty. The words are plain. The oath means what it says. When you have taken it, you will owe all of your allegiance to the United States. In the second part of the oath, you will swear to support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Our forebears came to America from many lands and for many reasons, like my great-grandfather who came from Ireland. They wanted many things: the opportunity to work and to acquire property, freedom to worship God according to the dictates of their consciences, freedom of speech, freedom from imprisonment without a fair trial. These wants were afterwards summed up in the Declaration of Independence in the statements that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The rights enumerated in the Declaration of Independence are moral rights. Our forebears wanted to make them political rights as well. And so they constructed the Constitution of the United States on the morals of the Declaration of Independence. The Constitution is the instrument by which the people of the United States instituted the form of government under which we are all now living. Their purposes in doing so, as set forth in the preamble, were to establish justice, to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty. As you know, because you've studied it, the Constitution has been changed from time to time in the past. It's been amended. But the principles, the basic core principles of the Constitution, as our forebears expressed them, have never really changed. As you know, because you have chosen it, citizenship in these United States is a glorious possession. It represents the dreams and the struggles of men and women for centuries. Our Charter of Human Liberty, the Bill of Rights, was obtained at a very high price. A voice in our government, freedom in our worship, freedom in our business, all the freedoms of human aspiration that did not come about by accident. They were achieved only after generations of struggle, suffering, and sacrifice, such as I am quite sure many of you had to experience before getting here. Good men and women who suffered oppression and who died in the battlefields. All of these and many others have made the supreme sacrifice while seeking human rights for all of us. They have all played their part as well in the framing of our Charter of Liberty. But we must never deceive ourselves. This country promises us the pursuit of happiness. It does not promise us happiness. This country promises us equality of opportunity. It does not promise us riches. This country promises us freedom of speech. Unfortunately, it doesn't always provide wisdom in exercising that right. And this country promises us liberty. But unfortunately, it does not promise us peace. And this is because liberty is not something that once having been achieved will last forever. It is only so long that we earnestly desire liberty that we will have it and that we will deserve to enjoy it. The philosopher Rousseau once wrote, "Free people, remember this, we may acquire liberty, but it is never recovered if it is once lost." So I urge all of you, take part in your local affairs. Make yourselves be heard. Be full participants in the freedoms that this country offers us. But one final note, please do not forget entirely your past and your culture. President John F. Kennedy once wrote, "This was the secret of America, a nation of people with the fresh memory of old traditions who dared to explore new frontiers. Every ethnic minority, in seeking its own freedom, helped strengthen the fabric of America, of American life. Similarly, every aspect of the American economy has profited from the contributions of immigrants. Our flag consists of many colors and many shapes. That is its uniqueness. That is its beauty. And so too with our people. Our citizens and their diversity make our country the beautiful tapestry that it is. Thank you for coming to America, for making it better. Thank you even more so for choosing to become citizens and making it better even more so. Okay, you ready? All right, everybody stand up, please, if you can. Raise your right hands and repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Seated one last time. I have a couple of, one announcement, right? The League of Women Voters. Oh, yes, your motion, ex post facto. Good morning.
My name is Thomas Moore. I'm the designated officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Wisconsin. For your honor, motion to the admission of United States citizens, 23 applicants for naturalization, are present in this courtroom, including 3 applicants for motion to the court for legal name change. Each of the applicants has been examined by an officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Each applicant has been found to be a person of good moral character, because residing in the United States in the period of time part of the statute. Each has been found to be favorably disposed to go over the habits of the United States, and each is familiar with the history of the United States, principles of the Constitution, and form of government of the United States. No objection or omission has been found. Therefore, your honor, I respectfully move that each of the applicants here present be admitted to United States citizenship to the court grant motion for name change to those applicants who requested it upon the oath of allegiance as a part of the statute.
Done. Your motion is granted. Sorry, I call him St. Thomas More. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're still good. You know, they all took the oath, so we're good. You're citizens. Welcome aboard. Now, as I started to say, the League of Women's Voters is here, and they're outside, and they'll help you get registered to vote. Unless, I guess if you're seeking a name change, you've got to do that first, or then you go to Social Security office, or anyway, they'll tell you what to do. But for those of you that aren't doing your name change, please register to vote today. It's a big deal. You know, a lot of people, you know, they're dying because they'd like to vote and they can't. For whatever reason, they're not able to vote. It's so easy here, really, in our country to vote. So please register and please vote. I don't care who you vote for, but as I tell my kids, you know, if you don't vote, you can't complain, because you've got to say. And we've seen, you know, in the last several elections, I mean, every vote matters. You know, there used to be a time, well, my vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters. Please vote. Okay, that's it. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. And as I always say, let's go sailing together. Okay.
All right.
Please see it. Okay, now we're going to issue your certificates. Information that I share about the certificates. The certificate you received today is the only copy of this document. There are no copies of it anywhere else. So keep it in a safe place. So if the certificate is stolen, if it's damaged, if you lose it, or if you make alterations. The only thing that you need to do on the certificate, there's a line that says signature. That is the only marks that you need to make on this certificate. Sign your signature. If you change your name, it's going to have a new name on the certificate, so that's the signature that you need to sign on top. For those of you that have a name, so if any of those things happen to the certificate, you will be required to download the application from Immigration's website and pay the small fee of $555 for a replacement certificate. Yeah, that price has been going down. I've been doing this now, going to be 15 years next year, and the price has never gone down on those certificates. We haven't had an increase in a couple of years, and when the increase happens, it's a
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you, and good afternoon also to all of your family and friends who might be out in the atrium or who might be joining us on Zoom or YouTube today. My name is Catherine Perhatch. I'm a United States bankruptcy judge for the Eastern District of Wisconsin, and I am absolutely delighted to be presiding over this naturalization ceremony today. We did them for a long time remotely, completely, and it's always nice to see faces back in the courthouse while we preside over these naturalization ceremonies. And I am just thrilled to be able to welcome you all as new citizens of the United States of America. Today, we have 25 applicants from 20 different countries. Like you, my great-great-grandparents, who were citizens of Ireland, Scotland, and Germany, chose to come to this country and made many sacrifices along the way to become American citizens. I'm going to read off the countries represented here today. And when you hear your native country, raise your hand and stand up if you want to, or just raise your hand because we have fewer people in here than sometimes we do when we have those large ceremonies. So we can see kind of the diversity and the cultural richness that each of you are contributing to our nation. So we have someone from Albania. Albania? No, okay. Algeria. Benin. Hello. Bosnia, Herzegovina. No. Congo, Kinshasa. Yeah. Hello. Denmark. Hello. The Dominican Republic. El Salvador. Honduras. Hello. India. Hello. Lebanon. Liberia. Malaysia. Mexico. Nepal. Poland. Russia. Serbia. No. Ukraine. And Venezuela. This is a very special and proud day for you, your family, and your friends. I want to take a minute to recognize your family, friends, and others who have supported you along your journey to becoming an American citizen. Some of them may be outside this room in the atrium. Some of them may be watching by Zoom or YouTube from faraway lands. But they all deserve our thanks for helping you reach this special occasion. And I join them in applauding you for your hard work, commitment, and dedication to becoming American citizens. Also here today is a representative of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. As part of this ceremony, that officer has a motion to present to me.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Thomas Moore, Investigative Officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have a motion for the admission to United States citizenship of 17 applicants for naturalization here present in this courtroom, including one applicant who is motioned to the court for a legal name change. Each of the applicants has been examined by an officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Each applicant has been found to be a person of good moral character who has resided in the United States for the period of time required of the statute. Each has been found to be favorably disposed to the order and happiness of the United States, and each is familiar with the history of the United States, the principles of the Constitution, and form of government of the United States. No objection to their admission has been found. Therefore, Your Honor, I respectfully move that each of the applicants here present be admitted to United States citizenship, and the court grant a motion for name changes to the applicant who's requested it upon taking the oath of allegiance as a part of the statute.
Thank you, Officer Moore. I'd be happy to grant that motion upon the taking of the oath. So before you take the oath of allegiance to the United States, it's my job to explain to you its meaning. In the first part, you will absolutely and entirely renounce any allegiance and fidelity you previously had to any prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty. After you take the oath, you will owe all of your allegiance to the United States of America. The allegiance you held to the country from which you came will be destroyed as if it never existed. Although you will have renounced your political allegiance to your country of your birth, that does not mean that you leave behind your affection for family and friends who remain there, or the culture, traditions, and customs of your homeland. Indeed, your preservation of that culture and your sharing of those traditions and customs with your fellow Americans, your language, your literature, your history, your music, your dance, your food, just to name a few, will make the fabric of our nation all the richer. So I must ask you, if any of you are unwilling to renounce your allegiance and loyalty to your former country, raise your hand now and your petition for naturalization will be withdrawn and dismissed. I've never had anyone take me up on that. Seeing no hands raised, we will move on to the second part of the oath. In that part, you will swear to support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States against enemies both foreign and domestic. The Constitution was adopted over 230 years ago. Its purpose is set forth in its preamble, which I know you all studied in order to get to this day. And that preamble states that it's designed to establish justice, to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. The Constitution sets forth the principles upon which this country was founded. At the time our Constitution was drafted, some states of the new country were concerned that the Constitution would result in a tyranny of the type that they had just fought against. So they insisted that further language be added to prevent misconstruction of this new document or an abuse of the powers it prescribes. In response, Congress proposed 10 amendments to the new Constitution, known now as the Bill of Rights. In the Bill of Rights, the drafters attempted to guarantee to themselves and their children, and now to you and your children, certain liberties, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures, and the freedom from imprisonment without a fair trial. Over time, additional amendments have been added to the Constitution to establish new civil rights, including outlawing slavery and prohibiting restrictions on voting on the basis of race and sex. The Constitution guarantees freedoms, rights, and privileges, but along with those rights and privileges come important obligations. For instance, the Constitution guarantees your right and the right of a free press to share your views on any and every topic without fear of discrimination or punishment. But with that right comes the responsibility for each of us to listen to the people with whom we disagree, the responsibility to protect their right to be heard, and the responsibility to engage with them in civil and respectful dialogue. The Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, which means you have the right to worship as you wish or to not worship at all. But in exchange for this freedom, you have the obligation to respect the religious expression of others. The Constitution also guarantees us the right to seek education, housing, and employment without discrimination based on national origin, gender, race, religion, sexual preference, or physical condition. But in exchange for these rights, you have the obligation not to forget that the Constitution was designed not only to protect your rights, but to equally protect the rights of your neighbors. Yet, with all of these freedoms come some additional responsibilities. By taking your oath, you join millions of citizens in this country in promising to support and defend the principles set forth in the Constitution, no matter what it might cost you. You may be called upon to defend the Constitution and the United States against an attack, and by taking this oath, you will agree to do so if called upon to do so. You also have the responsibility to participate in the democratic process by voting, not casually, but in a thoughtful and informed way. The Constitution guarantees us the right of self-government, the right to choose our own leaders, and to have a regular and peaceful transition of power. But in order for this system to work, you must register and you must vote. Voting is the first duty of democracy. Your vote is your voice. As United States Representative and Civil Rights Leader John Lewis observed, quote, "The vote is precious. It is almost sacred. It is the most powerful, nonviolent tool we have in a democracy. Our democracy only works when its citizens participate fully by helping to select those who will govern us all and by taking that process very seriously." After the ceremony, out in the atrium, there's volunteers with the League of Women Voters out there at a table. And they have a brochure for you and other pertinent information about voting, a privilege that you will have after today. They will also be available, perhaps to also register people to vote in the future elections out in the atrium, or at least get you kind of started on your way to being able to register to vote. So stop at that table if that's something that is interesting to you. Again, by taking this oath, you will have the right to vote, and I really do hope that you will take advantage of that important and most precious right. So we are now going to move on to the oath. So I'm going to ask everyone to stand up. The oath is up here on the screen to help you. I don't make anyone memorize it, so that's good. If you would all raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant services in the armed forces of the United States. When required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civil direction. When required by the law. And that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations. You can put your hands down. Congratulations. Congratulations. Please be seated. Let me be the first to congratulate you on becoming citizens of the United States of America. You now possess something that many people around the world would like to have: United States citizenship. Millions live in countries where they can only dream of the rights and freedoms that you now enjoy as a United States citizen. It's important that you take advantage of those rights and freedoms. Get involved. I know that you all studied hard to take the citizenship test, but don't stop. Continue to educate yourself about candidates for public office and referendum issues so that you can cast an informed vote in local and national elections. The United States, for the United States to continue to develop and improve, we all need to strive to protect those principles on which this country was founded and to not let anyone violate those constitutional rights. I have a short essay that I want to share with you. It was written by a gentleman named Ed Wilkinson. He's an American citizen who, like me, was born in the United States, and it contains his reflection on citizenship, having been born an American citizen. So this is what Mr. Wilkinson has to say. I don't remember being born, I just was. That is how I became a citizen of the United States. The Immigration and Naturalization Service didn't interview my infant self to determine my worthiness to become a citizen of this country. If they had done so, I would have failed. I didn't have to fill out complicated and boring paperwork. I was not required to pay the processing fee. I didn't have to demonstrate knowledge of the English language. I didn't have to leave anything behind. I didn't have to swear my loyalty to this country. As an American, if you ask me whether it is more impressive to build a house or to simply live in one, I will say build. As an American, if you ask me whether it is more important to be born with something or to earn it through labor and sacrifice, I will say labor and sacrifice. To new citizens, welcome to the house you built. Welcome to the home you've already made with your own two hands. I was born here and I've lived here my whole life. I am American, but I never chose it. You chose, you toiled, and that is why you and your children and your children's children will remember this day. So once again, I offer you all my heartiest congratulations and best wishes. May you and your families continue to enjoy many blessings in the years to come, as this country is blessed by your presence and blessed by your labor and sacrifice and choice to become citizens of the United States of America. These proceedings are now concluded. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We're now going to get you guys your certificates, information that I like to share about the certificate that you received today. This certificate that you received today is the only copy of this certificate. There is no copy anywhere else. So if this certificate is lost, damaged, stolen, or you make alterations. What I mean by alterations is the only thing you should do with the certificate is sign your name on the signature line. That is the only thing you should do. Do not laminate it. That's something that I run into. People think laminating it protects it. What it does is makes it an invalid document. So do not laminate it. But if any of those things occur with the certificate, you are required to go to immigration's website, download the replacement certificate application, and pay the small fee of $555 for a replacement certificate. Yeah, the small fee. Yeah, it's never gone down. I've been doing this for 14 years. It always goes up. It hasn't gone up in the last several years, but when it does go up, it's a large change. So please keep the certificates in a safe place. So today, to get your certificate, you're gonna need to give the officer your check-in letters, the 2 pages of the check-in letters. You're gonna need that in exchange for your certificate. Your certificate for the one person that's with us today, did change their name. If you do not get a copy of the court order that goes with that name change, they will mail you a copy of that court order to the address that is on this certificate, and you should be receiving that in approximately about 2 to 3 weeks. So for the one person that changed their name, congratulations, that is the name that appears in your certificate, that appears in your certificate. You'll be getting a copy of that court order in about 2 to 3 weeks that goes along with that name change. So we're gonna do this row by row. We're gonna start with this first row here. Just remain seated and make sure you give the officers, you come up one by one, and give officer more than 2 letters, and then you 2 pages, and then you guys are free to go. You're welcome.